Right now, someone is walking past you with a world inside their head you will never see. Not their secrets, not their memories, the actual texture of their thinking. And here's the disturbing part. You assume it looks like yours. It doesn't, not even close. For almost half of your waking life, you aren't really here. Studies suggest around 47% of the time, your attention has slipped somewhere else. Into a rehearsal, a memory, a conversation that never happened. You are living inside your own mind, and you have never once questioned what that mind is actually made of. Your brain produces thousands of thoughts a day. Some estimates say 6,000, some say 60,000. Tiny flashes, fragments, impulses that surface and vanish before you can catch them. But here is what almost no one realizes. Only a small slice of those thoughts arrive as words. The voice you might be hearing right now, reading this, that narration in your head. For many people, it barely exists. The rest is something stranger, images, feelings, pulls, half-formed ideas you understand perfectly without ever putting them into language. And that is if you have an inner voice at all, because a large portion of people simply don't. We still can't measure this properly. There is no machine that can look inside and read your private experience. Everything we know comes from people trying to describe the indescribable. But even those broken descriptions agree on one thing. There is no default setting for a human mind. There are, roughly, 5 completely different ways a person can think, and you are about to find out which alien you have been living as. The first group thinks in voices, a constant inner dialogue. They talk to themselves, argue with themselves, rehearse conversations they will never have. For them, silence isn't silent. It's just the pause before the voice speaks again. Lose your keys, and their mind narrates the search. Did I leave them on the table? Maybe the jacket. Maybe the car. A running commentary that never fully stops. The second group doesn't hear anything. They see. No narration, no inner speech. Just a mental image of the last place the keys were. A silent snapshot. They think in pictures the way you might think in sentences. The third group is stranger still. They think in feelings. No words, no images, just emotional pulls, a jolt of unease that points toward the bedroom, a sense of warmth that means yes, cold that means no. Their emotions solve the problem before any explanation arrives. The fourth group thinks in sensations. They remember the feeling of the key sliding into a pocket, the sound of metal hitting the table. The body remembers what the mind never spoke. And then there is the last group, the one most people refuse to believe exists. They report no inner experience at all, no voice, no pictures, no running feeling. When they aren't actively doing something, there is simply nothing there, a quiet most of us have never touched. Now, you probably notice these don't add up cleanly. That's the point. Almost no one is just one type. You might narrate and visualize, think in concepts, then get hit by a feeling when something matters. The mind isn't locked into one format. It's fluid. It's layered. It contradicts itself constantly. And even inside a single type, the gap is enormous. There is a simple test that exposes this. Close your eyes. Picture an apple. For some of you, it appeared instantly. Full color, shadows, a highlight on the skin. You could rotate it, move it around. It's almost physically there. For others, it's faint, a dim outline, a low-resolution ghost of an apple that fades if you look too hard. And for some of you, nothing happened at all. You know what an apple is. You understand the request. But there was no image, just the concept, just the word. That last one has a name, aphantasia, the complete absence of a mind's eye. It affects a small fraction of people, and here is the eerie part. Most of them go their entire childhood without knowing. They hear people say, "Picture this," and assume it's a figure of speech. They think everyone is just pretending to see, and then one day, often in their 20s or 30s, they discover that other people actually generate images in their heads, and what they assumed about everyone around them turns out to be wrong. At the far opposite end are people whose mental images are so vivid, they rival real sight. One scientist who thinks almost entirely in pictures once said that trying to understand word-based thinkers Feels like trying to understand aliens. And that word keeps coming back. Aliens. Because this is the thing no one tells you. When you talk to another person, you are not speaking the same language. Sometimes you are not even running the same operating system. You explain something in words. Their brain wanted a map. A teacher describes a concept in a straight line. Some students can only understand it as a shape in space. You both walk away, thinking you understood each other. You didn't. You were translating across two different machines and calling it conversation. And once you see it, the strangeness doesn't stop. Most people can replay a song in their head almost perfectly, every instrument in place, no speakers required. Some hear it so clearly, it's nearly indistinguishable from real sound. You can speak to yourself in voices you could never produce out loud, any pitch, any accent. You can mimic people who don't exist. It's voice acting with no physical limit, and you are the only audience. Some people feel things just by imagining them. Think of cold metal, and a chill touches their fingertips. Imagine velvet, and a texture appears. See someone in pain, and they flinch, because on some level, they feel it too. And strangely, these people tend to score higher on empathy, the kind that lets you feel what another person feels. Your mind can even be upgraded. There is a technique memory champions use, a memory palace. You take a place you already know, your apartment, a street, and you walk information through it, leaving each piece in a specific corner. It sounds like a trick. It isn't. When ordinary people are taught it, their recall can jump several times higher than repetition alone. It's one of the most powerful tools your mind has, and almost no one uses it. But that same wiring has a cost. The people with the loudest inner voice, the constant narrators, the planners, the rehearsers, they also have a mind that will not stop talking. Overthinking shows up most in people who live inside their own speech. The same voice that solves problems is the one that keeps you awake at 3 in the morning. And this is where it all leads. The exact mix of voices, images, feelings, and silence inside your head belongs to you and no one else. Nobody will ever hear what your mind sounds like. Nobody will ever see what it shows you. You can describe it, you can approximate, but the lived experience is sealed inside you forever. Which means every person you pass on the street is living in a universe you can never enter. As rich as yours, as loud as yours, as real as yours, and completely invisible. The only life you truly live isn't the one people see from the outside. It's the one playing inside your head, and no one else will ever be let in.